There it is. I see it.
Hi, Dave Brisbin. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zev. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for being available for me personally and for our community. Um, Dave, before I share on who you are to me, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do?
Well, mostly I'm a pastor, and I'm a pastor of a faith community here in Southern California that is a recovery ministry as much as it is a faith community. And so our real reason for being is to create a hub for people that are looking to recover from whatever is limiting them. And that can be substance abuse, of course, but it can also be just thought and behavior patterns and other dysfunctions in their life. And we realized that everybody's recovering from something, and the way through is common to all, with the understanding that there are distinctions between. So looking at faith, looking at spiritual formation, looking at wellness and health through that lens has been a real common factor for everything that we do. And I've been doing a lot of counseling and a lot of work, especially through this COVID, along those lines.
I want to share with everybody about our relationship because I think it's very interesting. I truly love you. I consider you a friend of mine. I consider you a mentor of mine. I consider you someone I can call when I have a heavy heart. But when we started a relationship, I was a bit of a mentor to you on marketing and digital marketing, and we were connected through a joint friend. And even though we've had probably, I'm not exaggerating, 60, 70, 100 hours of talk, we have never met
Absolutely.
physically. So
Mhm.
social distancing has not been hard on us, but it has been hard on so many people. So I am a people's person. You know that I get my energy from people. I see so many people right now that are feeling trapped. How can talking to someone help someone during this very crazy is not a good word, but a time that we haven't had before?
There's an interesting saying in recovery that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And if
Hmm.
you really think about it that way, it's so true. The lack of connection is what drives so much of the ills that we see, if not all of them. We are wired to connect as human beings. That's why we're here. Brene Brown says that beautifully. We're here to connect. When that connection is disrupted, all kinds of things ensue. We find our own particular way to paper over the disconnection and the holes in our lives. And whether it's substance abuse or overwork or this or that, some sort of process addiction, it's really filling the same gap, that same need. And so connection is everything. And what COVID has done to us is broken down the usual structures of connection that were just part of the fabric of our lives. And now we have to actively seek out ways to restore what was lost in creative ways. And that's what you've been seeing from business to churches to everything that's out there. You're seeing people trying to find ways to connect what was lost. You pointed out that, here we are on Zoom, but this is what we've been doing for the 4 or 5 years that we've been working together. Everything has been through technology and through remote kinds of connection, but the connection is absolutely necessary. So what talking to somebody can do, besides just establishing connection, even with a counselor or a therapist, is to look at where the connection points have been lost in a person's life and mapping out strategies to start to put them back in place in whatever way the pandemic allows, and whatever way that your job and other realities, as they're changing and establishing new normals here, finding new ways to connect. But absolutely, connection is going to be the basis of it all.
I love what you just said. I want to put a big sticker. The opposite of addiction is connection. I've never heard that before. I think that's incredible. And I'll put something out there. We talked about this before. I'm a self-proclaimed tough guy. Probably not, but I've been through a divorce. I have 2 children, and a couple of things that you said resonated. First, I wasn't aware that I need therapy. I thought that guys like me don't use therapy. I thought I had slogans, and please, people, don't hate me. I'm just trying to be honest. Therapy was for weaker people than I. And today I understand, after my divorce, and you and I have had some heart-to-heart conversations. My children live in Orlando right now. a lot of things, and I needed this to get me out of that black hole that I was in emotionally. Now, my kids just spent the entire summer with me. And it's so funny, you're talking about connection. When the kids were here, I didn't care about COVID because I was connected 24/7 to them. And the moment they went to sleep, all I wanted to do is to go to sleep as well. So very interesting. So it was a connection that I did not have, and that helped me during COVID. Now they're back in Orlando, and I'm back and feeling that void of connection. So how do you fix that, and how does working with someone, a counselor or someone from the outside, can really help you with understanding what's broken down?
You know, first of all, it's looking at the person themselves. You know, what is their personal makeup? You know, Zeev, you're as close to a complete class of extrovert as I know. You know, everybody's somewhere on the spectrum, but you're an extrovert. You get energy from other people. You're burning energy when you're alone. I'm an introvert, so I'm the opposite. I love people. I love being connected, but I'm burning energy when I'm in groups, and then I need to come and be alone to recharge. Understanding who the person is one piece of the puzzle. But the truth of the matter is, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you still need that connection. I've had people come to me and say, you know, I'm an introvert. I thought this would be like a godsend. You know, I'm getting paid to stay home and be alone. And now they're going stir crazy themselves. Some people who are at home with spouses and with children now 24/7, it's like too much connection. How do you reestablish the relationships in the home? And how do you reestablish some personal time and some boundaries so that the relationships don't go off the rails? And then how do you reestablish connection that you've lost both in the workplace and in all your social groups, even with family? You know, some people who can't visit their elderly parents or other relatives, they're feeling the pinch and feeling the pain. So first of all, it's assessing what's going on in the person's makeup, what's going on in their home and their family relationships, the closest relationships, and how they've been impacted in all the areas that they used to connect outside the home. And then looking at a way, okay, how do we set this up? How do we start to strategize ways to have healthy connections back in place? And it also depends on where the pandemic is at any given moment. Sometimes there's a loosening up, what state they're in, state of the country that is. So what is available to them? How can they start to implement certain things so that they're not getting outside of either the laws, the guidelines, or just what people expect of each other in terms of good etiquette during the pandemic?
That's great. And if I can go a little bit more personal, and I think a lot of people that are listening to what we put out on there, I lead a team. I lead a group of people, and they want answers from me. I am the person that provides answers to them. So I think in a lot of ways that multiplies the pressure, because not only that I need to figure out, whoa, what's going on in my own head, I actually now need to reassure and strengthen and sometimes say also bad things, or things that are not bad things, but things that don't feel well, or things that are hard to take, to these great group of people that has followed me sometimes through fire and water, and right now looking to me for answers, which I don't always have. So that to me, as a leader and as someone that's trying to lead a team through this, that has brought a lot of stress, I know, to me, because I know they're counting on me. And I know they're waiting to hear what I'm going to say, and that's going to be the truth to them. So I struggle with that. How can you help someone like me that is really struggling? I have a lot of people I provide for. I need to make sure that they and their families are well taken care of. They look at me to answers, and I don't know who has the answers these days.
That's sort of the problem. Nobody has answers these days. This is unprecedented territory that we're all moving into. So from the very top, from the administration to the health directors, we're getting all this mixed information. And so we really don't know what the true science and guidelines are telling us, which is part of the problem. We also don't know how long this is going to last. And that's probably the biggest problem. If we had a finite time that we knew that we just needed to grin and bear it, we could probably deal with that a lot easier. But the open-ended nature of this, and then realizing that life is not going to return to normal what it was before afterwards. We are going to be forever changed by this, just the way travel was forever changed after 9/11. And so we know that too, but what's that really going to look like? What does that mean? I think the best thing that leaders can do is to openly admit that we don't have all the answers, because to try to pretend that you do, or try to bear the stress of having to give set answers to the people that you lead, is not going to do the leader any good, and ultimately it's not going to do the people any good. But to reassure them that we're working through this together, to open up the lines of communication so that we become more of a collective hive mind, and that people realize that they can also input and have suggestions heard as everybody is trying to figure out how to walk through this. And so everybody can start to have a certain amount of ownership and responsibility going forward. The people that are calling me with workplace related problems, you know, what seems to be coming through most is that everything that we used to do just sort of effortlessly and without thought in the office when we're all together now requires a lot more effort, a lot more planning, and a lot more resources. Now, just used to be able to just walk down the hall and talk to someone. Think about it. We don't even have the benefit of the nonverbal communication that says so much between people and reassures people. So just facial expressions and body language. And even if you're together, now you're behind a mask. And so you still really don't have the full impact. And so here's another little aphorism you can put on your fridge, that in the absence of communication, we as humans assume the worst.
Ha ha ha.
That's
Love
just
that.
what we do. You know, if you haven't got an affirmative connection with somebody, we always go to the negative and assume that something's wrong. And so many of the people I'm talking to, they're assuming there's something wrong with their job performance or their boss or whatever, and they're doing just fine, you know? And usually it's no news is good news, because people will communicate, especially if there's an extra effort that needs to happen in order to communicate, then it's only going to be done for when something needs to be fixed. And so we don't get the affirmations positively that we used to get just kind of daily, if not verbally, at least just with a look and a smile and just an assurance that everything is okay. So realizing that as a leader, reestablishing ways that we can reassure people they're doing okay, the relationship is still sound, and everything is all right, is going to go a long way to just allowing everybody to relax and do their jobs.
I love that. And I'll end with, you know, we all need help and we all need to talk to someone. So I reached out to you, as you're the guy that I reach out to. And I've asked you what you guys in Encompass can do. And you really surprised me. And basically, you're going to offer anybody who wants to basically a free consultation. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter how you are. We're going to have a phone number down there. And anybody that's interested can call Encompass and really, get some things off their chest. And I'm telling you, people out there, people that are strong, that are leaders, we all need to get things off our chest. It is something that we all have to do, something I had to learn the hard way, and you really helped me with. And I'm so grateful that you're willing to do something like that for me and for our community here. And everybody, please take advantage of this. I know Dave's time is very valuable, but please fill out his time because it is valuable. I'm going to end with a question and with something personal. You've helped me a lot deal with some personal things that I've been going through. Now, if you have one advice, okay, for leaders, women, men out there that lead teams, lead companies, and are faced with what you hit on the head, the uncertainty. I think that gets to a lot of people. What is one or two things that they can do to really, center, have their psyche come down a little bit so they can make the better decisions that they need to make?
The most significant change always comes from the inside out. And so what a leader first needs to do is deal with their own insecurity, their own uncertainty, and their own fears. To start to accept the things that can't be changed, which is that we can't change the circumstances around us. We can't change the nature of the uncertainty of all of this, not only out there, but also within your own business. You know, sometimes there's just too many things that are out of control. We can't really plan effectively. For a leader to come to terms with that internally first, and deal with that wilderness within themselves and get to the other side where they say, okay, I know that there are things I can't change, I can't affect, but here's the things that I can, and start planning along that. And then there's going to be a difference just in the way that the leader approaches and communicates with the group when they are starting to come to terms with that internally. And that's a conversation that a leader can have with a counselor or a therapist to start working out the steps toward that kind of acceptance. And then realizing how much everybody else needs to go through that process to communicate in such a way that you're helping your group to be able to come to terms and accept the things that they can't change, and to work together to come to creative solutions to restore what was lost, first of all, as best you possibly can, to still find beauty and fun and connection in the rubble, quote unquote, the situation that we find ourselves in, and to continue to just take joy in each other's company in whatever way that you can do that. If that is part of the leader's agenda, along with everything that has to happen logistically within the group, a lot can become possible that you would think has been taken away from us or lost in some way.
Thank you so much, Dave. So guys, Dave is someone that has been a light and a guide in my life, and I thank you for that. He's also an author. We're going to leave some link to your books. He's a pastor. He leads a faith community, and you're just a wonderful guy. So thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your advice. And everybody, please take advantage. Encompass Recoveries. You can call the number we're going to leave on the screen, and it's completely no obligations, just a free service from Encompass and Dave Brisbin to you. And thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Oh, you're so kind, Zeev. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
You got it.
This was fun.